All right, some serious drama between former head coach and quarterback Russell Wilson apparently asking the Seattle Seahawks to fire head coach Pete Carroll and GM John Schneider before ultimately being traded to the Denver Broncos last offseason. Kind of a crazy story. There were some rumors, there were some murmurs that the relationship had completely eroded. But man, just to think, these two had won 104 games together, won a Super Bowl, went to a second Super Bowl, and ultimately it came down to this. That's really, really shocking. And it's kind of funny how all these things played out. Absolutely insane. So apparently after the 2021 season, going 7-9, missing the playoffs for just the second time together, Russell Wilson went to Seahawks ownership and said, we need to fire Pete. We need to fire GM John Schneider. And hey, I get it. Sometimes these tenures don't last forever. It's been a long time running. They've been together since 2012. So it'd been nearly a decade together. You normally do not get that kind of lasting relationships in the NFL. So apparently the relationship had completely eroded to this point. And after requesting that they would be fired, the Seahawks ultimately decided to list Russell Wilson as available for a trade. He ends up getting traded to Denver this past offseason. And the funny thing is, Russell had a new coach in mind. He said, we need to fire Pete and we need to hire newly announced retired Sean Payton. And guess what? He had to wait a year. They had to change locations, but Sean Payton is now his head coach in Denver. So Russell apparently got his guy. He wanted Sean Payton in Seattle and he got him in Denver. So it worked out for Russell. But Russell, of course, came out. He denied all this. He said, this isn't true. He had a nice little tweet talking about how he loved Pete, and him and John. They wanted to win together. Loves, respects Seattle. I have some inside sources inside the Seattle building, and this is apparently 100% true. Russell was making demands. He wanted Pete out. The rumors were true. It's absolutely crazy to hear this stuff, and I don't blame Russell. He felt like Pete had betrayed his trust. They had looked into other quarterbacks earlier. 2017, they were looking at Mahomes. 2018, they were very, very interested in getting Josh Allen, and I get that. Russell was offended. He had won a Super Bowl. He had been to another, and he really just didn't like the offense as a whole. He wanted to let Russ cook. Let Russ cook. That was the saying. They wouldn't let Russell spread his wings. Pete likes to run the ball. Pete likes to be that kind of conservative defensive guy. So the relationship ultimately ended up splitting up. And I think it worked out for Pete, man. He ended up getting Geno Smith this year. They made the playoffs, kind of a surprising playoff team. People had them as one of the worst teams in football, and they were really kind of solid this year, had an excellent young draft class. So Pete kind of won out in this situation. Now Russell now has his guy in Denver. We know it was a huge, huge letdown in Denver this past season. They were 4-11. They were absolutely terrible. And it's going to be on Russell now. He's going to have an offensive head coach. They're going to have to let this thing ride on him. And he did look better the last 2 weeks of the season once they fired Nathaniel Hackett. So it could have truly been Nathaniel Hackett's offense is just so dog shit that nobody can really run this thing unless you're Aaron Rodgers. And even Aaron Rodgers only runs it so effectively since he can't win a playoff game with Nathaniel Hackett as an offensive input. So we'll really see what this is coming to, but it's just a shocking thing that the relationship had turned like this. It took Brady and Belichick 20 years to kind of turn, but I don't think Brady and Belichick ever got this toxic. I mean, asking to fire a guy is less than ideal. So this is really, really tough stuff. They won a Super Bowl together. I mean, good God, it's really strange. But we see these things happen, and this is really, really not a great look for Russell Wilson. People already have horrible, image of Russell after this past season, the nonsense on the plane, doing the high knees, the corny takes. People just have gone from loving Russell Wilson to absolutely not being able to stand him. I get it. He kind of comes off as fake, not to mention some drama with his charity, not fully donating, only donating like 20 cents on the dollar, every dollar donated. So he's got a lot to deal with there. I'm not going to say it's ever since he changed his woman, but hey man, it really went downhill when he started dating Ciara. Super celebrity, he turned into a different man, and it has not worked out for him. But now the pressure's on. It's all on Russell. Can he and Sean Payton make it work in Denver? And you know what? Pete's just chilling. Pete's probably about to retire. He is the oldest head coach in the NFL. You would never guess it with how young he acts. But They need a quarterback in Seattle. Pete hopefully will find another one before he ultimately steps away, but we never know. Right now, Russell's the one that's got all the pressure, all the eyes, all the hate. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. How crazy is this story? Do we actually believe Russell tried to get Pete fired? I do, with after talking to my sources. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Who's going to have a better season next year, the Broncos or the Seahawks? Again, like this video, subscribe to the channel if you're not already, share this video with your friends, and I'll see y'all tomorrow.